To You Mobile Solutions What If Tour is sponsored by Tri-Ace Tires. Tri-Ace Tires, the next leading tire company.
I like that. Hey guys, so we're on our What If tour. We're still in LA, and just a unbelievable sequence of events happened today, and I got to meet James Crosby, and you're going to get to meet him here in just a minute. The what if factor in his family will absolutely blow your mind, and I'm going to let him tell you the story here in just a little bit, but to get you here to where we're at. So my buddy Chad Reynolds, that's a co-founder of bangshift.com, many of you keep up with him online, we met to discuss a couple of vehicle builds, and he wanted to meet over here at his buddy Crosby's shop, whom I've never met before. And literally an hour and a half, 2 hours ago, we met for the first time, and we just went to lunch, and we had a phenomenal meeting where we've learned that James's father was actually on the design build team for what became the Goldenrod LSR record-breaking car. And so, James, this is just this is like the cool thing in our industry. Just happenstance and walk along, and then have all this history, and now someone's approached you about writing this story. And you've got actual pictures from the 60s when this car was being developed and everything.
Yeah, that my mom took.
That your mom took. And even I saw a picture with you sitting in the cockpit of this car.
I was a whole year old.
That's just outstanding, man. So, obviously, your dad was engineer?
Crew chief on the car.
Crew chief on the car.
Dad was one of the first employees at Hooker Headers when Gary Hooker was still building headers in his garage. Him, Gary Hooker, and a guy named Harold. I can't remember Harold's name for the life of me, but basically they were the three original guys. And one of the other pivotal guys that was working there back in the day, I don't know if you'll kick my ass for saying this or not, but
He'll never see it.
Danny Grazia from National Tech Director of NHRA.
Okay.
He worked there. He fitted tubes and whatever had to be done. He was one of the original guys that took it. And my dad went on to work on the Goldenrod with Butch and Bill and all them.
Was it any one person conception, or did they just decide
it was Butch's idea to build the car. They'd already run a couple of cars at Bonneville, and they'd run a two-door sedan of some sort. I think it was a Polara or something like that. And then they ran what was nicknamed the Polywog, which was a front-wheel drive single-engine car. And then they stepped up to this, and they approached Chrysler, and luckily George Hurst came into play, and George Hurst helped out a lot. But as you'll notice on this is a model replica of the car, basically the way it ran. And if you notice, there's no sponsors' names on the side of the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mobil, Chrysler, Hurst, and Champion sponsored the car. And the biggest thing they wanted was the car to be clean. They didn't want it to be
all stickered up.
Yeah. Stuart Warner supplied all the gauges and everything, used it in a number of their ads. Hilborn used it in one of their ads. They actually posted it. I actually have the article here in this book of when they set the record at 409.
Wow.
But they didn't want all this stuff all over the side of the car.
So this was 409 was the record for piston powered?
Piston powered, wheel driven.
Okay.
So it's a 4-wheel drive streamliner, unlimited streamliner, but it is wheel driven.
That's remarkable stuff. And I'll tell you, even looking at the pictures, it really doesn't give you a scale until you've brought this model and sat it out here. And the sheer length of this thing is just absolutely incredible. To think that you're sitting back here and almost no view of what's in front, apart from maybe a half a mile out in front of you here.
Yeah, you've got
You're just looking at stripes and keeping it between the two of them.
27 or 28. No, it's longer than that. It's 33 feet long, I think, total.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And the motors were actually set up back to back, so they were counter rotating. And the way the engines were set up, they were timed to where they fired like a V-32, as opposed to having the motors working separately, because they were all tied together like they were one motor. But they had transfer cases in between, and then there was a drive shaft around the entire length of the car. But it had, the front axle had a transmission on it, and the rear axle had a transmission on it. So both those had to shift simultaneously. And they were able to make all that linkage and everything work. Butch and my dad they were amazing when it came down to little details and making stuff work. They made this car really hard to work on, because to get a motor out of it, the frame rails had to come off the sides, and then all the bulkheads to get the motor out. You could not take the motor out of this at the track. It had to go on a beam and hold it up to do it.
Wow, man, that's impressive. And you got some fantastic shots here in the book. You know, we'll look through some of those as well. But you know, you've turned out to be a pretty cool inventor yourself. You know, got a couple of things that you've done that I think most people have seen everywhere and
Yeah.
assumed it came from maybe other places. But tell us a little bit about that.
Actually, Shockwave is one of them. Brett Volkel and I had met actually when Brett was working for BDS. He drove their truck to all the shows. And then he came up with, he was going to start doing air ride stuff, and he started in his garage with his wife Sharon. He actually maxed out a bunch of credit cards and stuff and started doing all that stuff.
I don't know anything about that. Honey, you're not watching this right now since I'm on a national tour. Never mind those notices and emails you're getting right now. It'll be okay before long.
It'll be all right.
Yeah, it'll be all right.
Trust me. Just don't answer the door without looking first.
Yeah, don't go to the mailbox.
But Brett and I started talking, and I'd actually completed the Shockwave when I was working for somebody else, but I designed it all on my own time. And Brett was working on a similar idea. I just completed it before he did. So as opposed to fighting me on it or anything, he just bought what I already had. I sold it to him, and he's taken it to the level he's taking it today, which my business skills don't even come anywhere in the same realm as Brett Vogel. And he's taken it to an extreme that nobody can believe. And I still do work with them, do a lot of the West Coast shows, and a little bit of design work here and there. But everybody thinks that, oh, the air ride stuff's gone away. The air ride actually, as far as sales are, have stayed almost the same. But the coilover and stuff like that they're selling now have just boosted the market share. It didn't take anything away from the air ride stuff. Everybody's like, oh, the air ride's a thing in the past. Not in importance. We're still selling about the same amount that we were 5-10 years ago.
Wow, that's pretty spectacular. Well, you know, Crosby, it's been just great just to hear some of the stories and to see some of these fantastic pictures. Now, I understand there's going to be someone that's going to be writing a book potentially about this.
John Bechtel is working on a book. He's already got a lot of pictures that were taken by the magazine writers from Carcraft and Hot Rod and stuff back in the day. But these were a lot of the personal pictures that were taken of the car along the complete buildup of it. From the wind tunnel model all the way to the things in bare tubing and stuff sitting there.
Man, that's incredible. Well, hey, that just goes to show you what happens when, what if comes along. What if I do this? And it's just fantastic that.
And this was just a chance meeting.
It absolutely was.
You didn't even know where you were going.
No idea. No name on the building. I would have drove right past and never even looked at it if I'd have been lost.
I've gone great lengths to keep it that way, too.
I believe so, which is why none of this is being published as to where we're actually at. So
it's a secret location.
That's it. We're in the Bat Cave here. But anyway, hey, this has been fantastic. Crosby, thank you so much for your time and the opportunity to get to know you. And guys, just keep up with us as we continue to go across America and bringing stories like this of what if, to hopefully inspire you to your what if and see what great things can be happen after that. I'll see you on the road.